Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you're doing well. My name's Gareth. I hope you can all see the screen that says top 5 destinations for your next holiday. And I really hope you can all hear me. By the looks of things, my end, all is working a-okay. But if you kind souls would just do me a big favor, on the right-hand side, on the control bar, there's a little area, it says questions. If you would just open that and pop in there your name, say hello, let me know where you're tuning in from. It would be great to know where you are. We had somebody this morning tuning in from Australia, so they've won the prize for the furthest away today, unless anybody else is tuning in from New Zealand, which I doubt it very much, but it'd be great to find out where you are, but also just to make sure you can all hear me okay. I've had some horrible experiences in the past, nattering onto myself. Margaret in London, you're the first on the board. Thank you ever so much. I'm glad all is working well. Zoe in California, you're running the Australians close. Thanks for tuning in, Zoe. Lydia in Wales, nice to hear from you, and Mike up in Newcastle. Good to hear from you, mate. I'm in York myself. It's not too far away. Anyway, let's crack on. That's me. I'm Gareth Jones. I'm the product manager of Railbookers, so I'm the guy who, in the usual world, so to speak, is out and about on the trains quite a lot, meeting hotel suppliers, meeting other partners, having a hand in putting these great holidays together. A lot of you have found the questions area, which is great. Please, throughout the whole webinar, make use of that. It's not just for saying hello, it is for asking questions. Excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Sorry, if anything that comes up along the way, anything I'm wittering on about doesn't make any sense, any questions you have whatsoever, pop them in there. I'll do my best to keep up and answer them as we go along, but also at the end of the presentation, we'll have a little 5 minutes specifically for questions. So I'll certainly be able to help them. Also, though, on that control bar, there's a few handouts as well. Now, apologies, I've had some reports of the couple aren't working, but the main one is, and the main one is the Railbookers European Rail downloadable map. So that's free for you guys to download and use as you want. Either save it on your computer or your tablet, or print it off and use it for planning your holiday and your adventures by rail across Europe. So what are we going to cover in today's presentation? Well, we're going to look at some incredible savings for up to £500 per person for a limited time, a flash sale we've got going on this week. A few of the many destinations only a day's ride or less from London. Zoe in California, we're going to be concentrating on UK trips from the UK at the moment, but please do be aware there is also a US website where you'll see hundreds of and thousands of similar packages, not just starting from the UK, but starting throughout Europe as well. Weekend getaways, it's not just sort of 2-3 week holidays we're looking at, just getting away for a few days from the UK. And how European rail operators are providing a safe environment. So what traveling by train in Europe looks like at the moment. These are details of the flash sale we've got going on at the moment, which is pretty amazing, to be honest with you. So any 3 to 6 night holiday, save up to £300 per couple, £400 per couple saving on 7 to 9 rail holidays, and £500 per couple on any holiday 10 nights or more. UK specialist, Zoe, how interesting. Good stuff, good stuff. Well, I hope you find it helpful. Railbookers, for those of you who are new to Railbookers, this is quite helpful. If you're familiar with us, apologies for going over this, but key to understand what we do and who we are. Our holiday packages all include confirmed seat reservations. So we have access to nearly all rail journeys, rail operators around the world. Before the seats are made available to the public, we can get in there and get those best seats reserved for you. Sightseeing activities. So in the holiday packages that we provide, there'll be sightseeing activities. And what do I mean by that? I think Rome is a good example here. You go to Rome, you want to visit the Colosseum, you want to visit the Vatican Museum. You'll end up queuing for hours outside, big long queues, very popular. We provide skip the line access, so you avoid those queues. You jump the line, essentially. You're really maximizing your time in the destination, doing what you want to do, not queuing. Hotels. We have a whole host of hotels in all the major cities worldwide, ranging from 3-star up to 5-star. A lot of the time, the hotels may just be a short walk from the station, which is great. You know, walk over the road from the train station, you're in your hotel. Across the world, millions of pounds and euros and dollars are being invested around areas, around train stations. They're Previously, there's always been a bit sort of no-go areas, but recently a lot of the areas around train stations internationally have been really kind of well redeveloped. So they're quite attractive places to stay, and obviously the functionality of being able to arrive by train, walk over the road, you're there. Great. If not, if the hotel's a little bit further away, we'll provide details how to get there by public transport. We can also, if you like, get private transfer. So essentially a car, a driver will meet you at the end of the platform or a pre-organized place outside the station, give you a hand with your luggage, off you go to the hotel. Ferries, ferry journeys in terms of scenic ferry cruises, lake cruises around Switzerland, particularly like Lucerne, Lugano, like Geneva, beautiful scenery. Or getting from A to B. We've got a great holiday that goes up through Scandinavia to Russia eventually as well. It includes the ferry connection from Stockholm to Helsinki overnight. As I said, getting from A to B. Get over to Greece from Italy, for example, from Bari over to Patras. Excursions, Switzerland again, a good example. Mountain railways, cable cars, the lavender fields out of Aix-en-Provence, the Auschwitz camp or the salt mines out of Krakow, for example. All those day trips are included. Overnight rail journeys as well, something which I'm glad to say is really coming back into fashion a little bit in Europe. Over the past 10, 15 years, a lot of rail operators cut the sleeper trains in Europe just because they weren't making them any money. But happy to say Austrian Rail particularly are doing some great work in terms of bringing some routes back and becoming more and more popular. I mean, just the sense of adventure about spending a night on a sleeper train. Obviously the functionality of it as well. You don't have to stay in a hotel. Getting from A to B, you're maximizing your time in the destination, arriving in the morning, leaving in the evening. In today's world of social distancing, it makes sense as well. You've got your own cabin. You're not having to share any space with anybody. Fresh, clean linen. You can take a picnic on board. One of the great things about traveling by train, I always think, is taking a picnic on board, a bottle of wine, and enjoying a journey. Really lovely way of traveling. I said some really great routes in Europe now as well. One we use quite a lot between Brussels and Vienna. There are rumours about a train from Brussels going up into Scandinavia, up to Malmo in the next few years as well. That'd be great and really bring kind of Scandinavia a little closer to home. Why travellers love Railbookers. We have a lot of people who come back to us year on year to book the holidays. I mean, it's list their bucket list experiences for special occasions. So obviously comes to mind private trains such as the Venice Simplon and Orient Express, but not just that. Some of the landscape, some of the land that the train tracks pass through are only really accessible by train. Or the California Zephyr always comes to my mind in the US, where you're passing through the Rocky Mountains and some breathtaking scenery that you can take the train, you can hike, you could ride a horse possibly, but that's it. That's the only way to actually get there, or the helicopter, and that's the only way to see that landscape, see the scenery. Really special. Freedom and flexibility. You're not traveling as part of a group. It's all independent travel. You've got to abide by, of course, when your trains, what train you booked on, the dates you've got booked at the hotels, any tours specifics in terms of the day trips and things, but that's it. The rest of the time, you're not being led by somebody waving a flag. It's up to you when you have dinner, where you have dinner, what you do, really. The scenic way to travel, you've all tuned into a Railbookers webinar. I'm sure you appreciate the joys of traveling by train and just sitting back in a comfy seat, enjoying the scenery as you pass through. And all of our itineraries are customizable, which means it can all be chopped and changed as much as you like. We'll have a look at a handful shortly. If you want to upgrade any of the journeys, change the hotels, add on nights, extend stays, that sort of thing, absolutely no problem at all. That's all part of our service. If you want to come to us with a list of places and say, I want to go here, 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 and here, we can put that together for you. Absolutely no problem. Small deposits, pay deposit now, pay later. On the whole, if it's just the rail and hotel, it's £150 per person, small deposit, and then the actual package cost doesn't change. And we can guaranteeing package prices out until summer 2022 at the moment. So small deposit at this stage, you get something on the cards to look forward to in 2022. That's key as well. It's saying, you know, book 2 years from now, but also book 2 days from now, from 2 days to 2 years. If you are looking to leave a little closer to the time of booking, we're able to get things organized in place and all the documentation to you within 2 days. Now, wherever you are in the world on a Railbookers holiday, you'll be able to contact a member of our team in any emergency at any time. Main office in London, just off on Fleet Street, and then Beverly, Massachusetts, just north of Boston, Laguna Hills, just south of Los Angeles, Toronto in Canada, and Sydney, Australia, that's where we've got staff. That's where we have offices. So wherever you are in the world, at any time, you can contact a member of the team. They'll have access to the same stuff in the same system and be able to assist. And that's the fun map that I mentioned that you can download. All those colourful lines, different train lines, we make it easy. And we can advise them the quickest connections, the most scenic connections, the most scenic routes. But again, you can just download that map on the handouts thing there, right click on it, and it's save and it's yours. This is just to highlight some of our direct rail partners, the guys we work directly with. Keynotes here, I think Via Rail, no sleeper trains across Canada this year, well, up until the end of October, but it's probably going to be extended, so we hear. But great news from Switzerland, who have kind of weathered the coronavirus storm pretty well, that all's running fine with SBB, Swiss Rail, some of the best journeys in Europe, if not the world, in terms of scenery. So it's good news. And what are these rail operators doing to maintain a safe environment? Well, they're all kind of towing the same line pretty much. Facial coverings, are wearing a mask in stations and on trains for passengers and staff, stopping the sale of food and drink on board trains. Couple of caveats here. The sale of food and drink on board trains depends where you are in the world now. In Europe, Switzerland, on the Glacier Express, they're serving freshly cooked food on board if you want to cook food, so they're certainly serving food on those trains. In Germany as well, the buffet cars are open on the IC trains, the high-speed trains in Germany, so you can still get coffee, drinks, etc. on German trains. Most other countries, Spain, France, Italy, for now, no food and drink on board, but again, you can take whatever you want. The joys traveling by train compared to flying. You haven't got to worry about how much water you've got in your bag. You get on and enjoy and relax. Facial covering at stations in Italy, really lovely service that they're doing on the high-speed trains there, where all passengers are given a travel bag, a bit akin to an overnight flight bag, where they actually get some hand sanitizer, a mask, and a covering for the head of your seat as well to make sure it's all completely clean, which I think is a nice touch. The most obvious on a train, if you are traveling now, is the changing seat configuration allocation on board, just to make sure there's social distancing. So again, it depends where, and this is less obvious in first class, where there are less seats and more space anyway. But generally, trains are running around 50 to 60% capacity on the whole. But the world's changing a lot at the moment, very quickly. So who knows? In a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so, things will change, I think. Of course, increased cleaning and sanitation, cleaners on board the trains, so while the cleaning whilst the train's going, not just at the start and the end of a journey, and contactless ticket control. I think we've all got to get used to waving our mobile phones around to be scanned and not actually having physical tickets in hand. That we know because we go. So this is just a handful of our staff from all our offices over the past couple of years. Every year, apart from this year, sadly, all of our staff get to go on one of our holidays. It's where we get a lot of great feedback in terms of improving what we offer to our clients, but it also gives us the great adage of anybody you speak to over the phone knows what they're talking about, knows what we offer, really has first-hand experience of what we do. So should we have a look at some holidays now, shall we? First up, a little closer to home for the majority of us, Scotland. So much to offer. I said I'm based in York, and I'm ashamed to say that I've only been over the border a couple of times, once to Edinburgh and once to Glasgow, but obviously so much more to offer us, particularly in terms of natural beauty. The joy of this holiday as well, you've got the Caledonian Sleeper in it, so an overnight train. Brand new train in terms of the actual train itself last year. Really great service. 3 nights in Inverness, where you've got Skye and Island Dun Castle tour. You go out to the Isle of Skye as well, as said. Down to Edinburgh for 2 nights, city tour in Edinburgh, so you get to see all the sites as well. hop on, hop off tour of Inverness and London on the way when you come back down. Daytime train down to London and overnight as well in London. Under £1,800 per person. Important to know, hotel-wise, we always include breakfast at the hotels. Price is always based on 2 people sharing, but traveling solo, no problem at all. Again, it's completely kind of flexible. That can be changed. Natural beauty in Scotland, often overlooked, and of course the joys of the Royal Mile in Edinburgh, and historic Inverness. But the Caledonian Sleeper, the Cali Sleeper as well, I said it's a new train in terms of the actual train itself last year. There are a few teething problems with the timetabling, stuff like that, but they've ironed out all those problems. Really wonderful service on board. So great restaurant for dinner. Again, if you want to take a picnic on board, why not? Standard cabins are great, spacious. Club cabins, only a little bit more in terms of cost, and you get ensuite facilities as well, and you actually get breakfast included in the cost as well. But such a lovely way of arriving, coming into Scotland as well. Next, we're going to Switzerland. Such a wonderfully varied country. That, of course, depends where you are, but it's been French, German, Italian, Romansh, the national language down there, and so much wonderful scenery to offer a visitor traveling by train. Switzerland's lakes and mountains, probably our best-selling holiday. 5 nights, 6 days in total. You'll notice here this is based on a flight out and flight back. Now those flights can be from any airport in the UK. Doesn't have to just be from London. If you want to take the train, that's easily done, no problem at all. You can see the dotted route by train as well, so we offer it either way. Eurostar to Paris, then Paris change stations, and then a direct TGV train to Geneva. Both the airport and the train station in Geneva have very, very regular regional connections. For the quick hop around Lake Geneva, gets quite scenic for a little bit there. Half an hour ride through to Montreux. Excuse me. 1 night in Montreux. I wish it was more. I think if there's any destination which warrants a couple of nights to be spent in, Montreux is one. It's a lovely city. Very hard to call it a city. It's so small, but beautiful setting on the lakeside. Absolutely synonymous with the jazz festival, but it's got a great mountain railway, Roches de Nez, with some amazingly beautiful wildflowers in the spring and summer. Lovely kind of small hikes around up there. Beautiful views across the lake. Some UNESCO heritage vineyards, really steep, and it's a lovely thing to do. Is just if you've got a day there, hop on a bus right up the hill, up around for 10 minutes. All the vineyards have the doors open, pop in for some tasting and things. Gorgeous. Chillon Castle, 30-minute, 25-minute walk around the lake, or a 5-minute cruise. You're there. Beautiful medieval castle, fairy tales kind of stuff, right on the lake. Anyway, Montreux, and then you go to Interlaken, to Cote. You've got the key three big hitters in terms of train journeys in Switzerland: the Golden Pass, the Glacier Express, and the Bernina Express. 2 nights in Interlaken. You've got a day trip up the Jungfraujoch, the highest railway station in Europe. And then it's a flight back from Zurich, or if you prefer to take the train, take the train. So with the flights, we're looking at a price from £1,150 per person. If you would take the train, I'll probably say that's going to be more like £1,300 per person. It's a little bit more expensive traveling by train, but much more comfortable and much more enjoyable, of course. It's just a little snapshot in terms of some of the cities staying in. The top left gives you a view over the Interlaken Valley. Interlaken in between 2 lakes, its name's from. And that's Chillon Castle. As I said, just a little wander around the lake from Montreux. Big fountain in Geneva, of course. And then there's Cote, which is actually the oldest village, oldest town, oldest city, more of a town again, in Switzerland. Beautiful cobbled streets, lovely old town, really gorgeous. So the first of the train journeys, the Golden Pass. The Golden Pass runs from Montreux through to Interlaken. There's a slight change of trains, but it's a guaranteed connection. It's just where the train track changes gauge, it gets smaller, so you have to jump off the train and get onto another one. It's gorgeous. That's the panoramic car with the panoramic windows. You can see by the big image, the landscape there. The area it passes through is very much the It's where the best cheese and the best chocolate comes from. Kind of rich green pastures, beautifully. Lots of cow bells you hear everywhere. But beautiful, particularly as it climbs out of Montreux, climbing up into the mountains a bit. Really, really lovely scenery. From Interlaken through to Cote, you're taking the Glacier Express, probably the most well-known of the scenic trains in Switzerland. Gets its name, of course, from passing through across glaciers and across mountain passes. It's the slowest express train in the world, it calls itself. It doesn't run in November, just due to the weather as such. And the full length of it takes around about 8.5, 9 hours. But on this holiday, you're taking about 2/3 of it, the scenic part of it, 2/3 from a place called Brig through to Cote. You've actually got 3 classes of travel on the Glacier Express as well. You've got standard, which is very comfortable, still got the panoramic carriages. You've got first class, fewer seats, more legroom, table service in terms of meals. And then you've got excellence class. Now, excellence class is probably the most luxurious daytime train in the world, I'd say. It's one carriage. In that carriage, there's only about 24 or 26 seats. It's got its own private bar, 3-course lunch served on board, complimentary drinks, and a complimentary iPad for every passenger to kind of know what the landscape and what they're traveling through. So, as I said, 20 really, really limited space, but something very special indeed. It's Glacier Express Excellence Class. And then the Bernina Express. Now, it was this train that I met my wife 15 years ago, so I'm a big fan of it. But also, you will find it listed in many people's lists of the top 3 scenic train journeys in the world. It is something special. It really is. It goes from, you see there, sort of beautiful, clear, well, not clear, but blue-green alpine lakes. You cross some amazing viaducts over valleys. The Landwasser Viaduct, which is very long, you come out of a kind of tunnel, go around this very huge viaduct over a river and then back into a tunnel as well. The Brusio Viaduct, which is more like a corkscrew, and the track goes down 360 degrees. If the train went at any speed, it would be a roller coaster, but luckily enough, it doesn't. I mean, it kind of drops down into this beautiful palm tree lined valley in northern Italy. You arrive in Tirano, tiny little village. Here you can take a train to Milan to kind of experience the head out to elsewhere in Italy. But on this particular holiday, you have a couple of hours in Tirano. There's a beautiful little church. There are 2 tabernas, both selling decent pasta or a pizza, have a glass of wine and a meal, and then jump on the Bernina Express train and head back up north, the same track. Scenery takes on a completely different personality in the changing light of the morning and the afternoon. So it's one of the loveliest days you can spend traveling by train. It really is just a day trip on the Bernina Express. That image, the kind of insert image of the onboard accommodation, that's first class. So that's pretty much standard first class throughout the world, where you have 2 seats on one side and 1 seat opposite one another on the other. But you see the full sort of panoramic carriages, windows. In Interlaken, you mentioned it, the Jungfraujoch, the highest railway station in Europe. So that's the top of it in the bottom right-hand image. The station is actually, the train pulls into the mountain. On a clear day, you can see as far as France, Italy, Germany. There's a great glacier at your feet as you look down. There's a great kind of arts, ice sculpture gallery in the mountain as well. Really great experience. Traveling up and down is part of it as well. So it's 3 different trains to take up the mountain, each changing in gradient. The last one actually passing through the mountain. Coming down, again, 3 different trains down. We suggest people come back down by Lauterbrunnen, where you get to see an amazing alpine, huge, great waterfall coming down the mountain. But just really get the most of that valley, as well as the amazing views and experience of being the top. It's one of only 3 mountain excursions in Switzerland where you're guaranteed snow throughout the year. So throughout the year, snow up there. Yeah, I think if you're going to Switzerland, you'd want to be going up the Jungfrau at some point, because it is sort of It's amazing. They're called it's the Swiss, the Jungfrau, the Monch, and the Eiger mountains that are next to one another. And it's called the Swiss skyline. They're very proud of it, and rightly so. It's gorgeous. Next up to Italy. Now, it's great news from the UK perspective that obviously Italy has kind of battled through the coronavirus and things. There's still a few lingering issues in Lombardy, where I was speaking to a friend in Venice who said that Lake Garda was quite interesting. That's one side of Lake Garda is Veneto, which is open, and the other side is Lombardy, so it's still closed. But slowly everything's going back to normal. It's such a varied country again. Obviously the wonders of Rome, Florence, Venice, each very different in terms of their personality. But then you've got the beauty of the lakes, Lake Maggiore, Lake Como, Lake Garda, and of course the Amalfi Coast, of course, as well. Just get away from it all. We have a range of holidays, all titled Via the Alps. And what does Via the Alps mean? Well, it's this particular routing coming through from Switzerland. Venice via the Alps here, they all follow the same routing out. London to Paris and Paris to Geneva overnight. We've got a great, really good value 4-star hotel just over the road from the station in Geneva, the Corner Bin Hotel. You get to Geneva around about sort of 7:30, 8 o'clock in the evening. You've got time to go up for some dinner. And then in the morning, there's a direct train through to Venice. And that train goes via the Simplon Pass. And this is where the Venice Simplon Orient Express gets its Simplon bit from. So it takes this historic train route into Italy. Beautiful scenery coming down from the mountains. You skirt around Lake Maggiore. And then if you're going all the way through to Venice, skirt around Lake Garda. You can easily jump off of Milan, and there are regular trains from Milan to Rome, Florence, Amalfi Coast, Bologna, elsewhere, pretty much every destination in Italy. Venice via the Alps, though, once you're in Venice, you've got 3 nights there. Venice proper, not Venice Mestre and the mainland, down by the Grand Canal. You've got a walking tour led by a local Venetian and a gondola ride, of course, if you're in Venice. The $859 per person price is based on a flight back to the UK. If you want to take the train, no problem. Really nice route is having a night in Turin on the way back. Less known, less recognised tourist destination, Turin, in a way, and it's lovely, very foodie. A nice manageable size just for the afternoon. You have there some good art galleries and things right in the middle of town. But then train leaves Turin around about 10 in the morning with a convenient change in Paris. You're back in London by 7:30 that evening. So not too bad on the timing front to get back elsewhere. And as mentioned, the joys of Venice. If you haven't been to Venice, somewhere you really need to cross off if you haven't. It's an absolute joy, it really is. There's no other place like it on earth. Just gorgeous and such a rich, beautiful history. It's so nice, the walking tour, I must say, because you're led by a Venetian, and there's lots of things about sort of the actual local population in Venice dying out. People are leaving Venice in the hordes, but to actually be led by somebody who's kind of born and grew up in Venice, it's a wonderful experience. So they really have a passion and know what they're talking about, and can take you to some of the odd nooks and crannies that the kind of general visitor just never find. Next, we're off to Spain. Now, I was my last trip before lockdown, etc., I was in Cordoba, Barcelona, Cordoba, Seville as well. And I've been to Seville before. I've been to Granada. Cordoba just amazed me, just with the different layers of history. So much to offer in terms of Spain itself. I mean, we're going to focus on the Andalusia area. We've got a great holiday called the Andalusian Explorer, but just to kind of mention San Sebastian and Bilbao, Galicia as well, over in the northwestern corner as well. Such a beautiful area, local food, etc. Not the easiest place to get to, but you can do it by train. We have a few holidays going up there. In fact, combining with Portugal as well. Some lovely holidays. But Andalusia, my particular favourite region of Spain. Just the history amazes me, but also the food, the music, the culture, and the good weather as well, of course. This one, it's a flight in and flight out of Malaga, again, from any local airport in the UK. If Malaga's a problem, you can run the same thing from Madrid, fly into Madrid and take the train between. But overnight in Malaga when you arrive, then to Granada for 2 nights. You've got a skip the line walking tour of the Alhambra Palace, really important to do when you're there. pre-book. You simply can't do it just by turning up. 2 nights in Cordoba. You've got flamenco show as well. As lots it's a bit of a tricky sore point with people from Granada, Cordoba, and Seville in terms of where flamenco originates. And then Seville for 2 nights as well. And then you've got an early access tour of the Seville Cathedral and Alcazar, which is absolutely spectacular. Seville Cathedral's huge as well. Christopher Columbus's tomb's there, such huge history. Start just over £1,500 per person. That's for a 6-night holiday in total with the flights and everything included. And as I said, just such a rich history in all these destinations. Cordoba, the layers, we see there the Roman bridge in the bottom left-hand corner. And then there's the Mesquita, they call it the Mosque Cathedral now. And it's an amazing, huge structure. You're obviously familiar with the arches, but then in the middle of it, there's a cathedral. Beautiful, mind-blowing, and such an amazing place. It really is. Seville, the river, the weather. I was there in February, and it's still wonderful climate at that time of year. So you want to avoid sort of when it's the peak summer as such, July sort of time. But if you were to head out there in sort of November, for example, still be beautiful, really lovely, beautiful, and comfortable. The Alhambra Palace, huge complex. You want to go for a little wander up the hill, the other side, the Albaicin neighborhood, and get great views, especially when the sun's coming down of the palace itself. But obviously, your full day, you've got the tour taken care of as well. So you're going in there the next day to have a wander around. The trains in Spain, very good as well. Granada was closed for a few years with the rail connection. It just didn't have a rail connection, but end of last year, they finally launched the direct trains into and out of Granada, which is great. So you can now access from Malaga and from Madrid directly. So it's a lot easier to get to than previously. And then finally, a little closer to home, France. Of course, Paris, but so varied as well, apart from Paris as well. There's the French Alps, of course. We've recently launched a city breakdown to Annecy. We're getting a few nights in Annecy, not just famous for the beautiful lake, but I didn't realize it's called the Venice of the Alps. So many canals, and that image in the bottom left-hand corner of the colourful building stuff, that's Annecy. Excuse me again. The Loire Valley, of course, all the flowers and fruits and things. Provence, the lavender fields, the wine. Getting out to Bordeaux, the onset of the high-speed train, high-speed TGV line from Paris to Bordeaux a few years ago. Less than 3 hours to cover that journey. Really makes it, you can get to Bordeaux from London, leaving about 10 o'clock in the morning. You'll be there for 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, just with a change in Paris. Amazing, really. South of France, Côte d'Azur, Nice and Cannes. 6 nights in total, just under £800 per person. Return train, 3 nights Cannes, 3 nights Nice. In Cannes, you've got a guided tour of the Cannes itself, but also that gets you out to Antibes and up to the mountains as well. Some of the old artist hangouts up in the mountains. From Nice, it's a day trip to Monaco as well. Really easy. It's a 20-minute train ride, regional train. Leaves around about every 20 minutes, half an hour. Connecting onto a TGV, you can do it in 2 places really. Do it in Paris, that's where there are more connections. In Paris, you have to change stations. Gare du Nord, getting down to south of France, down to Gare de Lyon. Now, it's 2 stops on the metro. We can get a private car for you if you like, pick you up from Gare du Nord, take you straight there. Or there are connections via Lille where you don't have to change stations. It doesn't improve the journey time really, because it's just a little longer in terms of the actual journey itself, but you do avoid the need to change stations. So it's a worthwhile note. Getting down to the Côte d'Azur as well, it's great because the train speeds down to Marseille, and then from Marseille it veers east along the coast, and it really is. You sat on the train, and on your left-hand side you've got the Mediterranean, on the right-hand side you've got the beautiful mountains. About an hour and a half, beautiful scenery, really lovely. And again, lovely at any time in the year. Just be able to dip your toes into the Mediterranean. Not just during the summer, but I think I was there in November many years ago now. It was a little chilly, but you just get the fresh air from the Mediterranean as well. beautiful destinations which have so much to offer. So there's the Promenade des Anglais, but Nice Old Town as well. Great seafood, lovely holiday. And again, it's really close to home. Traveling by train, leave London around about 10. You'll be in Cannes by about sort of 8:30, 9 o'clock. And here's some little tasters, a little similar as well. Aix-en-Provence and Avignon, 5 days from just under £700 per person. If you're traveling in July and August, it does go up a little, so that's where we can include those trips out to the lavender fields. That's where then when they're in season and most fragrant, so include that then. The classic Glacier and Bernina Express, a bit smaller than the Switzerland's Lakes and Mountains, and focus around the, as I said, the Glacier and Bernina Expresses. Also got the Jungfrau in there as well, just under £1,500 per person. And then the Edinburgh and the Jacobite. So 6 days in total. Return from London. Again, you don't have to worry about having to come all the way to London to do it. If you're not in London, we can just pick it up from your local station and get you to Edinburgh and back again. You don't have to worry about following it as it is. That's that customizable side of things. 2 nights in Edinburgh, 2 nights in Fort William. You've got a day trip on the Jacobite train, the day trip steam train up to Mallaig, and then back again as well. Well, I hope that sweated the appetite a bit. Let me know where you're planning to go to, but also let me know where you'd be interested in another webinar, attending webinar. If we were to do dedicated webinars on certain destinations, where would be top of your list to find out more? A lot of people have been talking about Scandinavia recently. Been really popular for people getting in there early and getting their trips booked to Scandinavia next year. But let me know. It'd be good to know. There's a little reminder of that sale. I said it's a bit of a flash sale. So it's up until Friday. And again, you'll get those savings in for a trip in 2021 or 2022. Small deposit at this stage, worthwhile savings. These are some of the publications that have said nice things about us in the past. We were very happy to be awarded the best rail holiday company, the overall winner as well. So it's stiff competition. And we're really happy with that because that was voted for by the public as well. So a great kind of pat ourselves on our backs for that. That's the website as well. If you haven't had a look, railbookers.co.uk, click on the destinations tab. I'll open up the whole world and show you where we run holidays and where you have holidays available. And obviously always check the special offers. Also, though, this is where you can get the brochures if you prefer something in hand. We have 3 different ones really. There's Railbookers, which is the worldwide holidays, Via Rail Vacations, all things Canadian, and Amtrak Vacations, our sister company who run things, all amazing holidays across the US. So next week is all about France, 7 destinations in France beyond Paris. 2 weeks, the most scenic train routes in Switzerland. I'll be doing that one. And then in 3 weeks' time, 5 scenic lake holidays, not just the wonderful Italian lakes, but things like Lake Bled, Lake Balaton, some of the Swiss lakes as well. Questions, let me know of any questions you've got. That gives you an idea, that picture of the train route, train line from Marseille along the French coast to Nice and Cannes. Amazing scene, it really is gorgeous. Tracy, no problem. I saw that you joined late. That's all right, don't worry. We'll email you all a recording of the presentation as well, just in case you want to catch up on anything. You'll have a recording of it sent over. Bob, no, good question. No, we don't charge anything for kind of customizing trips or anything like that. There's no cost for making changes, and there's no cost for a tailor-made package either. If it's just a list of places that we haven't already got a holiday based on and you say this is what I want to go, we can put that together for you. There's no cost for the service in terms of putting it together. Judith, yeah, no problem at all. Sorry, yes, there are absolutely. There are the same discounts available for solo travelers. it wouldn't be double, and it's not double the listed prices. No, not at all, not at all. Hotels deal with rooms for single occupancy in very different ways. So it depends if hotels have set rooms for single guests or not. But so there's no kind of single room supplement. It's not an amount that's added on for people traveling on their own. It's just down to the way that hotels deal with the dealing with the single occupancy. But no problem. Yeah, you can always drop us an email if there's any particular holidays you're interested in. Drop us an email or give us a call, and we can certainly put the pricing together straight away. No problem. Lydia, no luggage restrictions really. I mean, Eurostar do have some in terms of I think you can't take your kitchen sink and stuff like that. But again, it's one of the joys of traveling by train is that you're not down to those tight restrictions that you are flying really. It's great. Obviously, you want to beware in terms of making sure that you can carry your luggage. At King's Cross and Pancras, they do have trolleys, for example, but you can't be guaranteed any trolleys wherever in most of the mainland stations in Europe. So you've got to be able to kind of carry your luggage or pull it at least. So yeah, there's no real restrictions in place. Great thing. Mike, San Sebastian, yeah, we've got some great holidays down San Sebastian, combining with Bordeaux, for example. San Sebastian works really well with Bilbao, of course, as well. You can do it, have a night in Paris, and then a leisurely journey down, take a train down to a place called Hendaye, which is on the border. And then there's a local train network called the Usco train network, which you can't actually buy tickets for, which is really frustrating. You have to buy tickets when you're there, but it's annoying because the machines at the station are in English. You can just buy tickets, really inexpensive. And there's a train directly through to San Sebastian. We've got a few packages which run that, but you do have to buy that little bit yourself. But it's really easy, honestly. And obviously, what a beautiful destination as well. Zoe, wine tasting. Yeah, great shout. Now, Dijon, we've got some great holidays featuring Dijon. Where we do some great tasting down the valley there. Going out to Beaune as well. It's about Beaun, Beaune. Sorry, I can't even spell the place. Sorry. Which is a tiny little village in the middle, just about an hour, half an hour's ride outside of Dijon, in the heart of Burgundy. Some of the best wine in the world there. We'd love to look to Italy to get some sort of wine tasting there as well. So it's something I'm working on, absolutely. But yeah, and Bordeaux as well. There's an amazing place called Cité de Vannes in Bordeaux, which is very much kind of mecca of wine from around the world, and it's some amazing kind of tasting experiences there. Lydia, so luggage, if you've got a few hours connected, depends where you are. So great question. In most stations, they still have left luggage lockers. Always get a bit tongue-tied with that. Switzerland's really good with it. I mean, one thing we always suggest people do in Switzerland for making a connection in Bern is to leave your bags at the station, one of the left luggage lockers, go off and have a wander around for a couple of hours. Heading out through Germany and Eastern Europe, Cologne has some really easy left luggage lockers to use. In France, a little less, just due to security and things like that. I think some stations do, some stations don't really. It's a little bit frustrating in France, but again, it really depends where you are. In Spain, they do, but again, it's more of a kind of desk you take it to. It's a bit of a long-winded process. But in Germany and Switzerland and Italy, for example, as well, they have kind of large dedicated lockers that you can use just to leave your bags for a couple of hours. All right, well, thank you ever so much, everybody, for all the questions. I hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope you found it helpful. Thanks for sticking with me. It's been good fun. Any questions you do have in the future, feel free just to give us a call. UK 0203 780 2222. Drop me an email if you like, gareth.jones@railbookers.com. Happy to help. I'm the one bottom left 2 in with the 2 little kids, 2 little girls. They're generally quite noisy around the house, but they've been quiet this afternoon. So all is good in the world. Thank you for joining us. Really, really enjoyed it. Have a lovely evening, morning, wherever you are. Take care. Keep well. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.